The cul-de-sac was quiet except for the low hum of sprinklers and the faint rattle of wind chimes. Dana Morris stood at her front window, coffee cooling in her hand, eyes locked on the black Jeep parked halfway down the street. It hadn't moved all night. No sticker, no registration, a heavy padlock across the steering wheel. It didn't belong here. Not on Maplewood Lane. Not in her neighborhood. To anyone else, it was just a car. To Dana, it was a symptom, one that needed immediate removal before it spread into chaos. She'd seen what happened when people stopped following the rules. Lawns overgrown, trash left out, then crime. Always crime. The HOA handbook rested on her kitchen counter like scripture, pages worn from her nightly readings. She slipped on gloves, a faded floral pair she used for gardening, and grabbed the bolt cutters from her garage. The metal bit cold in her palms. For a moment, she hesitated. Her reflection in the Jeep's side mirror looked distorted, almost unfamiliar. Then the cutters snapped. The lock clattered to the ground, the sound sharp and final. She peeked inside. The seats were worn, the smell of leather mixed with something chemical, sterile. A map lay folded on the passenger seat, markings in red ink. Strange. But before doubt could settle, a neighbor's curtains twitched. She straightened her spine, reclaiming authority. "Just enforcing HOA policy," she muttered, loud enough for anyone watching. The tow truck arrived within 15 minutes. She signed the form with pride, lips tight in satisfaction as the black Jeep was hauled away into the afternoon glare. Justice, she thought, was best served before coffee cooled. Back inside, she typed into the HOA group chat. Dana, President unauthorized vehicle removed. Neighborhood safe again. Smiling face with smiling eyes. Thumbs up emojis poured in. She smiled, sipping the last of her coffee, unaware that miles away, a police radio crackled with urgency. "We've lost the Undercover Jeep. Repeat, task force vehicle missing." And somewhere in that same cul-de-sac, a camera on a nearby lamppost blinked red, recording every second of Dana's victory. Detective Cole Reyes drove into the service lot behind the old diner just before dawn, his jaw clenched tight enough to ache. The air was heavy with diesel and regret. Where the black Jeep should have been, parked under a tarp, tagged with a discreet tracker, there was only a rectangle of clean pavement. Gone. He killed the engine and stepped out, boots grinding gravel. "No, no, no!" His voice was low, strangled. He had left that Jeep for one night. One night to recharge, shower, and sleep 4 hours on a real mattress. Inside it were burner phones, a wiretap receiver, and evidence that tied a gun-running network to 2 corrupt deputies. All of it, erased by a tow order. Reyes called dispatch. "This is Task Force Delta 7. Vehicle 4B has been moved without authorization. I need trace location now." Static, then a woman's calm tone. "Detective Reyes, GPS shows it impounded by a local towing service. Request filed by Dana Morris, Maplewood HOA." He stared at the name. A homeowners association? He laughed once, humorless. The absurdity scraped against his exhaustion. 3 years undercover, walking a knife's edge between loyalty and law, and now it came undone because some suburban zealot wanted her street tidy. Across town, Dana sat at her kitchen island, sipping lukewarm tea as her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. She ignored it. Another message came seconds later. "Return what you took." She frowned. Probably one of the delinquent tenants from the rental house she'd fined last month. But when she opened her mailbox that afternoon, a plain envelope waited, no stamp, no return address. Inside, a single photo, her front porch, taken from the street, time-stamped at 3:17 a.m. Her fingers trembled. She looked around the cul-de-sac. Everything appeared normal. Children on bikes, sprinklers turning. But when she stepped back inside, she noticed it, the faint smell of cologne. Not hers. Not familiar. That night, in his motel room, Reyes scrolled through the security feed from the Jeep's hidden dashcam. Frame by frame, he froze on a middle-aged woman in gardening gloves, bolt cutters in hand. Her face lifted to the lens, resolute, proud. He whispered her name like a threat and a prayer. Dana Morris. And outside her perfect home, the red light on the lamppost camera blinked again, watching them both. By morning, Maplewood Lane was alive with whispers. Someone had leaked the footage, grainy security video of Dana, in her floral gloves, cutting the Jeep's lock and calling the tow. It spread through the neighborhood chat like wildfire, forwarded and screen-recorded until even the kids on bikes knew. At first, Dana laughed it off. "Taken out of context," she told her board. "I was ensuring community safety." Her tone carried authority, the kind that demanded compliance. But her smile trembled at the corners. That evening, only half the board showed up for the HOA meeting. The rest claimed family emergencies. Dana stood before the projector, replaying the clip herself, forcing everyone to watch it again, her own digital crucifixion. "This," she said, "is what leadership looks like when others hesitate." Her eyes gleamed, almost feverish. A murmur rippled through the room. People shifted, uncomfortable. Her closest ally, Marla, whispered, "Dana, maybe just apologize?" Dana's jaw tightened. Apologize for enforcing order? She slammed her binder shut. That Jeep didn't belong here. Behind her composure, memories stirred. Her ex-husband Mark's uniform, the smell of whiskey on his breath, his voice echoing, "Control is respect, Dana. You lose control, you lose everything." The night he shoved her into a wall was the night she learned how power could keep her safe, or destroy her. Now, she wielded it like armor. Across town, Reyes watched the same video from his laptop in the unmarked car, coffee cold, eyes hollow. He'd traced her easily, her HOA records, her permit filings, her digital footprints all neat and public. A woman obsessed with order left trails. But as he studied her face, he didn't see arrogance. He saw something else, fear. The kind he knew too well. He started the engine. "You want control, Mrs. Morris," he muttered. "Let's see how much you can keep." Outside Dana's window, headlights paused, then vanished. She turned from the curtain, heart quickening, unaware that the man whose operation she'd unraveled was already driving straight toward Maplewood Lane. The bell over the cafe door jingled, soft and hollow. Dana looked up from her latte, heart skipping. Detective Cole Reyes stood in the doorway, plain clothes, tired eyes, that unmistakable air of quiet authority. He approached her table with the slow precision of someone used to confrontation. "Mrs. Morris," he said, voice even. "Mind if I sit?" Her throat tightened. "I'm not sure what this is about." "You know exactly what it's about." He slid a photo across the table, the black Jeep, circled in red. "You cut that lock. You had it towed. That vehicle was part of an active investigation." Dana exhaled sharply, clutching her mug like a weapon. "It was abandoned. Against HOA policy. You can't expect people to just—" "A woman is missing because of that Jeep," he interrupted. "We were tracking her captors. You moved the evidence before we could act." The clink of cups filled the silence. Dana's lip trembled. "I was protecting my neighborhood." Reyes leaned forward. "You were protecting your control. Not your neighbors." Her eyes flashed, but the defiance cracked. "You think you know me?" "I know what it's like to need order," he said quietly. "To think it'll save you." His voice softened, almost pitying. "It doesn't." For a long moment, neither spoke. Outside, rain began to fall, streaking the window beside them like tears neither would shed. When he finally stood, he left his card on the table. "You'll need it soon," he said. And for the first time, Dana believed him. 3 weeks later, Maplewood Lane looked immaculate. Fresh paint, trimmed hedges, new security lights blinking in perfect rhythm. The HOA newsletter boasted record compliance achieved. But Dana Morris's chair at the head of the table was empty. Her house sat dark, curtains drawn, a single sheet of paper taped to the porch rail, its edges stiff with dried blood. "Order restored," it read in her neat handwriting. Federal agents arrived at dawn, silent and efficient, towing away the black Jeep without a word. Neighbors peeked from behind blinds, whispering theories but never questions. Across the street, Detective Reyes sat in his car, watching the cul-de-sac shimmer under the rising sun. He thought of Dana's last words in the cafe, the tremor behind her composure. Evil hadn't crept into Maplewood. It had been bred there, watered by fear, fertilized by rules. The street was perfect again. Too perfect.